legally allowed. That's why we went back to
how
the
is
courts.
that? How is that not legally allowed?
Sir, do you know how court orders work? Do you know how protective orders
Actually,
work? Do you know how
Mr.
sealing
Patel,
orders
I was
work?
a real prosecutor for 10 years. I know exactly how
so I was a
court
fake
orders.
one?
And I want to understand what the court order prevents you from releasing witness statements that the FBI took.
You should know that as a real prosecutor, when the court hand downs a protective order and a motion to seal, the material is sealed unless
So
that
your
judge
testimony
waives
here
it.
is that all of those witness statements are under a court order, a protective order.
We are providing everything we can legally provide.
No, that's not my
Congress has
question.
sent us a
My
subpoena.
question is, why are those witness statements that are not grand jury testimony, that if they were under a protective order are no longer under a protective order, why are they not being released?
How are they not under a protective
Why
order?
are you not going to the court like you did for the grand jury testimony to unseal those records?
The DOJ did go to the court.
No, not on those records. Why aren't you going?
gentleman.
You just went on grand jury.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
You are hiding the Epstein files,
Time
Mr.
of the
Patel.
gentleman has expired.
You are part of the cover-up.
Can I respond?
You sure can.
Any allegations that I'm a part of a cover-up to protect child sexual trafficking and victims of human trafficking and sexual crimes is patently and categorically false in the work of my
So I hope you will talk to them when they
Gentlemen's time
have
is
requested
expired.
to speak with you. Because the
Gentlemen's time is
victims have
expired. Gentleman
requested
yields
and you are
back.
not responding to them.
Director, yes or no, is the FBI still spying on parents at school board meetings?
No, sir.
Is the FBI still targeting Catholics?
No, sir.
Is the FBI still spying on President Trump?
I don't believe so.
Is the FBI still censoring Americans?
No, sir.
Is the FBI still targeting Americans for shopping at Cabela's or purchasing Bibles?
Nobody is targeted for their faith.
Is the FBI still targeting Americans who are pro-life?
Nobody is targeting anyone for their
Is
beliefs.
the FBI still cooking the books on crime data?
The crime data is real.
Is the FBI still purging agents for conservative viewpoints?
No one at the FBI has asked their viewpoints on
Is
policy.
the FBI still labeling the Betsy Ross flag, the flag of the American Revolution, a hate symbol?
No.
Well, maybe that's why you've been able to, what was the number, 23,000 bad guys you've arrested, a huge increase from the same time period in the previous administration. I think you said 1,400 predators, 4,000 children rescued. Were those the facts?
4,700, 35% increase on children rescued.
Yeah. And you got the guy to Abbey Gate.
We got the Abbey Gate guy.
We had a guy from the 4th District of Ohio who lost his life there serving our country. We appreciate that. Maybe when you're not focused on politics, you can actually do what the FBI is supposed to do. Go get the bad guys, right?
That's what the men and women of the FBI do.
Director, did John Brennan lie to Congress? Let me just read a couple things, actually, before you answer that. 2 years ago, we had Mr. Brennan in for an interview, and I asked him, how'd you learn about the dossier in December of 2016? Mr. Brennan replied, I received a copy of it from the FBI, and the CIA was very much opposed to having any reference or inclusion of the Steele dossier in the intelligence community assessment. That's what John Brennan told the United States Congress. 7 weeks ago, the Director of National Intelligence told us this: John Brennan lied and denied using the dossier in the intelligence community assessment because he knew it was discredited. CIA officer told the House Intelligence Committee Brennan refused to remove it, and when confronted with the dossier's main flaws, he responded, yes, but doesn't it ring true? John Brennan lied to us?
Mr. Chairman, I won't stylize the evidence. What I will say is that the intelligence community assessment, those that created it and any individual involved with it, is an ongoing investigation.
There's an investigation into what took place in December and January of December 2016, January 2017, when this whole thing started, this grand conspiracy. That is being investigated, is that right?
That has been publicly announced by the department.
That's been announced by the department. Did Chris Wray hide documents from this committee?
You would know better than me, sir.
Well, I think you told us like 700 pieces of information you've given this committee since you've been the director relative to just one incident, the Catholic memorandum from the Richmond field office.
I can give you the comparison, sir. Yeah, the Catholic memo, I believe we turned over 750 documents. In Mr. Ray's tenure, I believe they turned over 19 pages.
19 pages. You give it a 700. Why would Chris Wray hide information from this committee?
You'd
Want
have
to
to
hazard a guess?
I'm sorry?
Hazard a guess why he would do that?
I don't know, sir.
I think maybe it was because FBI was spying on a priest, trying to get him to break the priest penitent confidence that exists. You think maybe that was the reason?
You'd have to ask him, sir.
Yeah, we'd love to do that. I want to read a few names here. Arctic Haze, Tropic Vortex, Riding Hood, Foggy Falls, Echoes Fate, Sirens Lure, Genetic Christmas. What are these code names about, Director? You know?
Not off the top of my head.
Well, Arctic Haze, Tropic Vortex. My understanding, these are code names for leak investigations of classified information from the year 2017. Does that ring a bell?
In terms of leak investigations, many of those are classified and many of those are ongoing, Mr. Chairman. But we are working with you to produce documents as we close those investigations or as we declassify them.
Let me ask you this question, because this is something I've wondered about, the way the FBI used to work. The way this whole thing so many of these things unfolded. Seems to me you had all these people in government leaking information that then gets reported in the press, and there's a story written about it, and then that article is then used to further the investigation and move forward with what they want to do. Did that take place back in 16 and 17?
That's the exact scenario that took place in the FISA application for Carter Page and the rest of the Trump campaign.
And that is frightening, because that's what the CIA is supposed to do in foreign countries. It's not supposed to happen to Americans. But it did, didn't it, Director?
Yes.
And not just any Americans, it happened with the President of the United States. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you were the key guy in helping expose that. And I think our country will be forever grateful for what you did to let the country know that was going on involving Americans, which is not supposed to happen, and not just, again, any American, but the President of the United States. Chair now recognizes the gentlelady from California.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm concerned by reports that FBI agents have been diverted from their important work on crime and anti-terrorism to work on matters that are not critical to our safety. I'd like to play the video, the whole video
Jeffrey
clip.
Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean, there's...
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
But the Black Book, it's not just sitting, I mean, that's Hoover power times 10.
And to me, that's a thing I think President Trump should run on. On day one, roll out the Black Book.
In contrast to that attitude of let it all out, we're getting reports of actions that run contrary to getting everything out, and that also involve diversions of FBI resources. For example, an FBI whistleblower reported that you were pressured by the Attorney General to place 1,000 personnel on 24-hour shifts to mine roughly 100,000 Epstein-related records to redact President Trump's name from the files. Bloomberg reported this, that you directed FBI special agents from the New York and Washington field offices to join the Bureau's FOIA employees in Winchester and another building a few miles away, and that while reviewing the Epstein files, FBI personnel identified numerous references to Trump in the documents, and people familiar with the matter said that Trump's name, along with other high-profile individuals, was blacked out. Now, the New York Times reports, and this is a quote, Justice Department officials diverted hundreds of FBI employees and federal prosecutors from their regular duties to go through the documents at least 4 times, including once to flag any references to Mr. Trump and other prominent figures. Details of the review were based on accounts by 3 former FBI and Justice Department officials who spoke on condition of anonymity because of fears of retaliation, and further that the FBI finished, after they finished its review of the files and materials, was sent to a team of Justice Department lawyers who double-checked the FBI's redactions and, quote, were instructed to flag any mentions of Mr. Trump and other celebrities. Now, I have 3 questions for you, Mr. Patel, about this. First, how many times did President Trump's name appear in the Epstein files? Was it more than 100, more than 1,000? Were the agents who were pulled from their duties to redact the president's name from the Epstein files working on criminal cases or national security cases or child sex trafficking cases? And are the number of agents that have been reported diverted for these purposes, is that accurate?
No.
No what?
You asked if it was accurate. I said it wasn't.
So you're saying that none of this happened? That,
No, I'm saying it was inaccurate.
okay. How many times did President Nunts appear in the Epstein files? More than 100? More than 1,000?
No, and what we've been able to release is what we've been legally able to release, and that has
No,
been
that's not
provided
the
to
question.
public.
I asked you, how many times did the president's name appear?
I don't know.
It's your testimony. You do not know that
The
answer.
number of times, no.
Could you tell us how many agents were diverted for this task and what they were working on?
When you say diverted, you make it seem as if agents were pulled off what they do all the time. Agents at the FBI masterfully do double duty and triple duty. And because of the public's interest in this case, we flexed resources to make sure that we could answer the public's signal demand. So do you want us to look through the material and provide it to you, or you do not want us to do that?
So it's
Which
your,
one is it?
it's your testimony that no one was diverted from a criminal matter, that this was a top priority to go through these, this material to look for Mr. Trump's name. Is that your testimony? That's the highest priority for
what's-
the FBI?
What's one of the most impressive things about the FBI leadership and the careers that are in place is that they make the decisions on who to send where on priorities and make sure the mission needs are not hurt. And that's what happened here.
It's shocking to me that the FBI would think that erasing Mr. Trump's name from the Epstein files is a high priority when we have crime, we have national security threats, we have terrorism threats, we have murders such as that occurred, unfortunately, with Mr. Kirk. It's shocking to hear that that's your highest priority. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I
That's
yield
literally
back.
not what I said.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized.
Director, is President Trump implicated in any wrongdoing related to Jeffrey Epstein?
Based on the entirety of the evidence that we have, absolutely not.
The president is not implicated.
Correct.
Thank you. I want to talk a little bit about China's malign influence here in America. And, we've seen spy balloons traverse the United States. We've seen police stations in communities around America. And sitting in the chair you're in just 2 years ago, there was a sheriff from Cochise County, Arizona, Mark Daniels, that was here, who said that the exponential increase in the amount of fentanyl that is coming into America is directly related to the open borders policies of the previous administration. Do you agree with Sheriff Daniels' characterization?
In large part, yes.
So, since you've been director, has there been a reduction with, we've talked about how the border is largely secure now, right?
The southern border, yes, sir.
The southern border is largely secure. Has there been a concomitant reduction or a reduction in the amount of fentanyl that is coming into America?
There has been a massive reduction to the tune of, we've seized more than 25% year-to-date this year than the prior year, and that's enough fentanyl to kill 120 million Americans.
Does China play a role in this fentanyl that's coming to America?
As I stated in my opening, sir, what they do and the companies in China, mainland China, do is produce the precursors and the cutting agents that they ship overseas through various countries into the Mexican drug cartels who produce it. So they basically are the cooks in terms of the ingredients.
Tell us, what is the FBI doing to stop China from delivering death to America?
So for the first time in a decade, I actually reached out to my counterpart at the Ministry of Public Security. No one at the FBI had done so, to engage.
Ministry of Security, where's that?
In mainland China.
In mainland China, okay, thank you.
To engage in a conversation to say, hey, can we have a certain number of these precursor chemicals listed in China so that they become illegal and illegal to trade. We're also working with our counterparts in places like India and Guatemala because the transshipment routes of the precursors, the Mexican drug cartels have gotten creative, and instead of coming directly to America, are going into these countries. And we've had massive success in India and Guatemala, and in those governments' great partnerships in shutting down the ability to ship the precursors into those countries, which are ultimately destined to America.
So those people that are working with security agencies have been working with you, is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
So I want to turn to a couple cases that are at the University of Michigan, where Chinese nationals, on behalf of the Chinese government, smuggled in illicit biological materials, stuff that can harm our agricultural industry. What actions are you taking as we see repeated stories of Chinese nationals doing this in the United States?
So just that, sir. In this calendar year alone, as I was mentioning, our counterintelligence operations and cases brought against the Chinese are up by, I think, something like 40%. And specifically, the cases in Michigan show two threat streams, not just against our agricultural industry, which is a threat to national security, but they were also bringing in chemical agents and mushrooms. I'm not the exact expert. That would have ultimately hurt our population. We arrested and charged all of those individuals, and we are aggressively going after them in every single state because they weren't doing it in Michigan alone.
Should research universities across the United States be doing a thorough job of vetting Chinese nationals that are coming to their universities?
They should.
Turning to spying in America, you know, we heard the stories about Senator Dianne Feinstein's driver, who was a Chinese spy. We're familiar with Linda Sun, who worked in Governor Hochul's office, Christine Fang in California. What are you doing to find these people who are Chinese spies that are trying to burrow themselves into the politics of America? Because we know it's happening, right?
Yes, it is. And what our counterintelligence unit is doing is aggressively seeking the intelligence into where these individuals are working. Then we are utilizing our operational authorities to go in and investigate them either through our human source networks and collecting information through lawful process, online, search warrants, and data so that we can bring proper arrest charges and publicize to the world what they're doing here. And just because we've caught a few doesn't mean we've caught everybody. We've got a lot more to go.
I get one more quick question in. The FBI arrested a judge in Wisconsin, Hannah Dugan, for interfering with a federal law enforcement operation. Could you tell us a little bit about that? And is a judge above the law here in the United States of America?
Well, no one is, and that case is ongoing. But as you stated, and these allegations that there was an interference in a federal lawfully executed federal law enforcement priority that was interfered with.
I yield back, Mr.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Tennessee is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Director Patel, I believe you had primary importance in starting Operation Viper in Memphis. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Operation Viper brought in the FBI, the DEA, the ATF to help the Memphis police in policing the city.
That'll be phase two, sir. Phase one was FBI and local law enforcement in Memphis for the last few months.
Okay. You did a good job, and the police director and the mayor have told me that has been helpful, the FBI working with the police. And the FBI are trained in law enforcement. They know Miranda rights, they know how to do policing, and they do a good job working with the police. Do you think that the National Guard is necessary to do the work that the FBI is doing now?
Thank you. I do think it's necessary to finish it. What we've done is 500 arrests in Memphis and 110 federal indictments. But what we need to do is we've only secured a piece of where the criminal conduct is occurring in Memphis, and we can't work inside perimeters that are not established and safe, and we don't have the manpower to give us the space to fully go into the areas where the criminal activity remains.
Well, are you suggesting that the National Guard is going to go into the more heavily crime areas?
They're going to establish, like they did in Washington, D.C., perimeters where local law enforcement and the FBI, DEA, ATF, and U.S. Marshals can go into. We can't be going into all these areas knowing that they're extremely volatile and jeopardizing the safety of our agents.
Did the National Guard do anything in Washington to help the FBI stay safe from these dangerous elements?
They established